Graduands, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of UMIST, it gives me very great pleasure to welcome you all here today as we meet in this great hall to confer degrees on graduands from the departments of optometry and neuroscience and of chemical engineering. And this is an extra special occasion because in addition to the award of undergraduate degrees, we welcome Mr. Peter Burden, one of our former chemical engineering students. Peter is a fine example of a person who has developed from a first-class student to a first-class businessman, and we are delighted to honour him with an Outstanding Alumnus Award during this ceremony. It's a particular pleasure to welcome all partners, families and friends who have supported our graduands, many of whom have travelled long distances to join us in this day of celebration. I hope that during your visit to UMIST, you will have a chance to look round our university and have the opportunity to spend some time in this vibrant city of Manchester. To reach this threshold of graduation, all of our graduands will have had to overcome many challenges. Most obviously, there were the intellectual challenges of your degree courses. You have had to think hard, you have had to work hard. But there were also personal challenges of your degree courses, coming to terms with new ways of learning, of studying, and of working. There were the financial challenges. Today, students from all backgrounds are depending increasingly on contributions from families, on loans, and on income from employment. And we in universities are increasingly concerned about the impact this may be having on our students, on their studying and on their future careers. And finally, there were the social challenges. Some of you have come with the enormous challenge of coming from another country to live and study in Manchester. Others with the more modest but no less real challenge associated with venturing north of Watford or crossing to the wrong side of the Pennines. And all of you will have had to fend for yourselves. And in these challenges, you have been supported by many people. Some of them are here today, your fellow students, representatives of the academic staff, but most of all, your families and friends. Some of you have come from far overseas to study here, as have your families to celebrate with you today. You make a particular contribution to the variety and richness of university life here on this campus and enable us to show to each other that there is more than one way to live the good life. We acknowledge the contribution of all of your supporters, some of whom are here today to see you make this transition from graduand to graduate. Many of you will no doubt have heard that UMIST and the University of Manchester will shortly combine to form a single university. The purpose of this fusion of two great institutions is to create a truly world-class university with the size and resources to compete on a global scale. Teaching and research will be of a quality to equal that in the handful of leading institutions in the UK and to compete successfully with the best in the world. UMIST graduates will belong to the single university through its alumni association, and in the future, you will have the choice of describing yourself as being educated to degree level at either UMIST or at the single university. This great hall and the building in which we are today dates from 1902, when it was opened by the Prime Minister of the day, Arthur Balfour. He proclaimed it at the time as the outward and visible sign of the awakening which has come over the people. But UMIST's origins go back considerably further, to 1824, when a group of Manchester entrepreneurs met and decided to create the Manchester Mechanics Institution to meet the skills shortage caused by the world's first industrial revolution, then blossoming in and around this city. Their purpose was clear: to promote the learning of scientific principles. But demonstrating the foresight that had already made them prosperous, they argued that it was also vital to link that learning to work. And this still remains one of UMIST's basic objectives, and why the latest survey of major UK employers shows that UMIST and Cambridge are the most highly regarded universities for the employability of their students, a record that has now been achieved in each of the past 6 years. Last month, the results of the largest survey of final year students ever conducted in the UK also showed that, despite one of the toughest graduate job markets for years, UMIST graduates were among the UK's biggest earners, with a record number expecting to be in good graduate jobs or postgraduate study soon after graduation. UMIST is very Technology sometimes leaves something to be desired. UMIST is very proud of the achievements of its students, and we take a particular interest in their career and development. UMIST graduates can be found in all walks of life. They include Sir Terry Leahy, the Chief Executive of UK's biggest employer, Tesco, and now Chancellor of UMIST, the Right Honourable Margaret Beckett MP, the Secretary of State for Food, Environment and Rural Affairs, and T. Chi Han, Singapore's Minister of Education. And in the past few years, businesses such as Rolls-Royce, Kingfisher, Nissan UK, ICL, Balfour Beatty, BOC and Procter & Gamble have had UMIST graduates at their helm. This year, UMIST was awarded its 4th Queen's Prize for Higher Education by Her Majesty the Queen at Buckingham Palace. No other UK university has won more Queen's Prizes for higher education than UMIST. Indeed, in the last decade, UMIST has become the most decorated UK university, winning in addition 2 Queen's Awards for Export Achievement, 2 Prince of Wales Awards for Innovation, and the only ever Department of Trade and Industry Award for Technology Transfer. And UMIST also prides itself on the quality and relevance of its research. In the last research assessment exercise, all of UMIST's academic departments were rated at national or international excellence for research, and 2/3 of our academic staff received an international excellence rating for the quality of their research. To support our international research endeavour, UMIST needs leading-edge research facilities, and in the past year, 5 new centres have been opened: the Strix Centre for Manufacture, the Molecular Beam Epitaxy Process Development Facility, the Laser Processing Research Centre, the Electromagnetic Centre, and the National Grid High Voltage Research Centre. Later this year, the refurbished chemical engineering pilot plant, to become known as the Moreton Building, will reopen after a £6.5 million refurbishment. UMIST is deeply grateful for the support of government, of private industry, of private donors and charities such as the Wellcome Foundation, who have invested heavily in our facilities over recent years. It's important to stress that this mention of research and the various awards that we have won is done not to boast, but really to place in context the very significant achievement made by our graduates today. Not only have you contributed significantly to the success of UMIST, but in a world-class university of the highest standards, you have competed to obtain a place here, worked hard over a sustained period of 3 or 4 years, completed numerous assignments, examinations and projects, as well as managing finances and giving time to plan your future career. Your achievement deserves the very highest recognition. You are excellent examples of the sort of people we are proud to see as our graduates, and you are just the sort of people a modern society needs in order to thrive and to flourish. But important as all this is, universities are about more than the utilitarian preparation for a career. They are places where we can think and discuss freely and openly about all aspects of life, where we can debate and challenge views and opinions, where we can participate in activities totally outside the confines of department or degree programme. And how vitally important this is at the present time. These are the activities that will have shaped your thinking and life view as much as the subject of your degree. This is education in the round. Education that survives when all that you have learnt has been forgotten. And so finally, I would like to wish you every success in your future careers and invite you to keep in touch with UMIST and with one another through the UMIST Association, the organisation of former students and staff of UMIST. As members, you will be invited to reunions and kept in contact with UMIST through the magazine Mainstream. You will not escape even if you come from overseas. Branches of the UMIST Association are found in many places around the world. Do keep in contact with us and make sure we have your correct address to correspond with you and visit us wherever possible. So, to parents, to friends and supporters, thank you for coming to this special day. To graduates, congratulations on your success at UMIST, and thank you for your contribution to the life of this university. I hope very much that you have enjoyed your time here, and that you will be happy and satisfied in whatever career and walk of life that you choose to follow. And I now call on Dr. Grant Campbell to present the outstanding alumnus. Thank you.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, graduands. Graduation Day is the day when we formally and proudly recognise the hard work and achievements of our graduands. UMIST graduates frequently go on to achieve exceptional success in their professional lives. And this year's Outstanding Alumni Award to Mr. Peter Burden, Chief Executive Officer of Thorntons plc, is an inspirational reminder of this. The Outstanding Alumni Awards were instigated at UMIST in 1996, with the first going to Sir Terry Leahy, Chief Executive of Tesco plc and a UMIST Management Sciences graduate, and now our Chancellor. Annual awards have since been given to a number of other distinguished alumni, including Ian Gibson, formerly Managing Director and Chief Executive of Nissan Motor Manufacturing UK, and a graduate of our Physics Department. Karen Guerra, Chairman and Managing Director of Colgate Palmolive UK Limited, who graduated from the School of Management. And mathematics graduate Sophie Grigson, a freelance food writer and broadcaster. Today's award to Peter Burden also has a food theme, and is a timely reminder to our graduands that the food industry offers great opportunities in terms of diverse and exciting job prospects. Thorntons are, of course, a major name in the chocolate market, which is no doubt the most popular sector of the food industry. In the UK, we spend over £3 billion annually on chocolate. Just to put that, it's that exciting. Just to put that in a relevant context, we spend on chocolate fully half of what we spend on higher education, and considerably more than what we spend on university-based research. Quite right too, I can hear some of you saying. It's tempting to draw other comparisons between chocolates and universities, certainly between chocolates and students, but perhaps the most relevant is to note that there is a spectrum of universities in terms of quality, with UMIST, of course, right near the top, and there is a spectrum of chocolate quality as well, of course, with Thorntons, under Peter Burden's leadership, right at the premium end of the market. Thornton's slogan is "Chocolate Heaven" since 1911. UMIST perhaps should copy Thornton's example and adopt the slogan "Educational Heaven" since 1824. Thorntons began as a sweet shop in, yes, 1911 in Sheffield. It was floated on the stock exchange 15 years ago and now has a turnover of around £150 million with 500 retail outlets. Chocolate manufacture is one of the most elaborate food processing operations involving good chemical engineering problems like crystallization and flow of complex fluids. And Thorntons is therefore no doubt benefiting from having a chemical engineer at the helm. Peter Burden came to UMIST from his hometown of Teesside in 1978 to read chemical engineering, and followed this 10 years later with an MBA at the Australian Graduate School of Management, where he graduated in the top 10 and won a special prize for Best Student in Corporate Policy. His time there also gave him a taste for New World wine, although he does combine that with a love of English beer. Peter's career as a chemical engineer began with Esso, where he started as a plant technical engineer and for 6 years held a variety of posts from energy conservation engineer to refinery coordinator before he began to tread the managerial path. He spent 4 years with the consultants McKinsey & Company in London, Gothenburg and Copenhagen, before moving on to Boots the Chemist, where he was Director of Business Development and Executive Director for Product Quality and Development, including a stint in Hong Kong. This background has given him an enormous range of experience in strategy, brand, and organizational development. Allied to an energetic leadership style, this made him an ideal choice 3 years ago to head up Thorntons plc as their Chief Executive Officer. He is here today with his wife Emma and their new baby girl, Freya. And what daughter would not want their father to head up a major chocolate company? Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I present to you for the award of Outstanding Alumnus 2003, Mr. Peter Burden.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, graduands, ladies and gentlemen. I have to say I am deeply, deeply honoured and actually utterly surprised to have received this honour, because whilst I may be the Chief Executive of a relatively well-known company, Thorntons, I still regard myself as an ordinary lad from the north of England who went to comprehensive school. So it was a real surprise. And I have to tell you, but for a twist of fate, I wouldn't be standing here today. Because when I received the letter about 4 months ago, offering this letter, it'd been rather a busy day at work, and there was a lot of post on the doorstep. I opened the letter, I didn't read it properly, and I thought it was actually asking me to nominate somebody to be the Outstanding Alumnus for 2003. I couldn't think of anybody, and because I had other things to do, I actually put the letter in the bin. Now, about 2 hours later, my wife came home, and when she was putting something into the bin, she noticed this letter, and she pulled it out, and she said to me, "Congratulations." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Have you read this?" I said, "No, I haven't." So, but for a twist of fate, there'd be a dustbin man from Nottingham standing here. But anyway, it is a deep honour for me, because I really did choose to come to Manchester, UMIST, and to do chemical engineering here. I actually turned down a place at Cambridge to come here. Because the chemical engineering faculty seemed to be very progressive and well-rounded, even though the building where it lived in seemed to be pretty dire, but I forgave them for that. UMIST seemed to be a good kind of university to come to, and Manchester itself in 1978, when new wave music was just starting, seemed to be the place to come. And I have to thank Manchester, because I actually got to meet Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols here, and that's probably my greatest memory, actually, if I'm honest. But, you know, the implication of standing here and saying a few words is that you've achieved something, and you must give a few tips to the graduands and how they can succeed in life. Well, let me tell you, when I sat out there 22 years ago, I didn't have a clue how I might become, say, Chief Executive of Thorntons. It hadn't even occurred to me that might be what I wanted to do. But I suppose when I reflect now about some of the things that have helped me to get where I am today, it's easier in hindsight to say this. Because at the end of the day, graduands are all potential leaders. And people think of leaders being leaders of people, and clearly that will be what some of you will become. But people can lead thought leadership. So it isn't about people, it's about leading the way that people think and so on. And you all have the potential to do that. In terms of my tips for how to become a good leader, I've got a number of things, and I don't claim that this is an exhaustive or comprehensive list, and I'm sure somebody else standing up here next year would have a completely different one, but it's the one that seems to have worked for me. The first thing is, whilst I'm not a very good chess player, I've always regarded life as a bit of a game of chess. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you think about in chess, you can usually at the beginning of the game, you can take more than one move. And one particular move might enable you to take a piece, but that isn't necessarily the best move. So the most obviously attractive move in your life isn't necessarily the best thing to do, and you should always bear that in mind. Because if you take another move, it maybe builds things up for success later on. And I think, if I think back to my time in my 20s, which was covered a little bit earlier, it was about taking some risks with my career, about leaving ESO, going to do an MBA on the other side of the world at a business school that nobody had ever heard of in Australia. And if I would give you an example of a risk that you could take, I would strongly recommend to all of you, no matter where you come from, work somewhere overseas, because you'll learn not only about the culture that you go to, you'll learn more about your own country and the culture that you've come from and how to be more effective within it. The second point I want to make is kind of illustrated by the fact that my 10-week-old daughter is here today, and that's that you must always try to achieve balance in life. Don't be obsessed by your career, because remember, other than your career, there is your family, and then there's yourself, actually. You have to do some things for yourself as well. And I've always tried to keep those three things, career, family, and self, in balance, although over time you have to make some trade-offs, and you have to be prepared to do that. Thirdly, you must value relationships and people's innate qualities. Now, I think when sometimes people say, value people, there's kind of an implication that it's about being soft with people. Well, valuing people sometimes means you've got to be hard with people, as well as supportive and caring and so on. And as a business leader, one of the things that I observe in many of my compatriots in other companies is sometimes they aren't honest and straightforward enough with people and tell them the real truth, and that's one thing that I think is very important. This list isn't that much longer, so you won't have much longer to say. The next point is, and especially given the audience I'm talking to, who are by nature very, very analytical. Now, analysis and facts are, and I'll be the first to say it, a great way to make decisions, but you should never be afraid of using your intuition and winging it slightly, because analysis and facts don't necessarily give you the whole answer. Second to last is strength through weakness. Now, what do I mean by that? It means that if you want to be an effective leader, reveal some of your deficiencies and some of your foibles. Make a joke a little bit about yourself, because if you do that, you'll show yourself to be human, and you're more likely to get people to follow you in whatever path that you want to pursue. And finally, and I think most importantly, stick to your basic values. You have to be adaptable over time, but you must always, always be true to yourself. The times in my career when I haven't done particularly well are the times when I haven't really been true to myself, and I think that is just so important. So there's sort of a few kind of little sort of tips from me on how to be an effective leader. But I don't think I'm the most important part of the day. The most important part of the day is the graduates who are here today. Back in 1997, Tony Blair, when he became Prime Minister, said that he had three priorities: education, education, education. Now, some in this room may question the speed or the efficacy of implementation of those priorities, but for me personally, I believe that's absolutely true, because I think only education can really build great societies and economies. And whilst it's true that everybody in the population should be better educated, it's the graduates of institutions like UMIST who must provide the leaders within our society and within our economy. So I wish you well with that particular quest. And parting thoughts would be, no matter what you do, try and do two things. One is make a difference, and the second thing is have fun. Thanks very much.
On behalf of the Academic Board, I present for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Stephen Stanley Baker. Runa Liesnes Grauteset. Joanna Gale Hollingsworth. Hui Yang Ko. And for the award of the degree of Master of Philosophy, Annemiek Koeps. And for the award of the degree of Master of Optometry with honours in optometry, Sharon Louise Bell. Catherine Rachel Hunsley. Emma Louise Sharples. John James Windsor. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Science with honours in optometry, Heather Rhian Bell. Ian Donald Cameron. Joanna Catherine Carr. Sarah Joelle McRae. Jane Roberts. Deborah Joy Simmons. Philippa Desiree Todd. Ibrahim Badat. Rina Bagdai. Jacqueline Nurani Chaudhry. Francis Cooper. Lavleen Dade. David Warwick Dixon. Galatia Georgiou. Fiona Gray. Elizabeth Jane Hobbs, William Andrew Holmes, Lisa Teresa Huxley Blythe, Zetanisha Jiva, Rupali Kuroya, Wasim Majid, Robin Imelda McCarthy, Alison Melling, Nina Mystery, Sarah Monier, Hannah Victoria Nielsen, Dharmesh Patel, John Harold Prowse, Aziz Rahman, Susanna Jane Reed, Lucy Ann Sanderson, Kajal Shah, Ellen Harad Williams, Stuart George Wilson, Ishra Ahmad, Azam Ali, Jennifer Lindsay Ailes, Ambreen Chowdhury, Bina Dipala, Sean Evans, Michael Anthony Fairbairn, Suhail Isa, Guraj Singh Jabal, Adam Matthew Jones, Simi Mahil, Ema Monahan, Mohammed Rafiq, Deepesh Shah, Zakham Sharif, Rabia Raymond Sheikh, Christina Michelle Tinsley, Gay Onwelly, Rahila Kamal Khalid, Wai Han Wong,
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Academic Board, I present to you for the award of degree of Master of Engineering with honours in Chemical Engineering, Rebecca Claire Burton. Edward Allen Clark. Craig Raymond Forster. Helen Joanna Lane. Michael Andrew Seaton. Amber Yasmin Aziz. Richard John Charles Barker. Jawad Bakari. Helen Marie Dutton. Ifweko Uomu Ofiawa. Graham Andrew Torkington. Samir Suresh Wadwani. And for the award of the degree of Master of Engineering with honours in Chemical Engineering and Biotechnology, Vanita Singh. Jo Wa Catherine Chow. Antonios Konstantopoulos. James Alexander Stewart. Duncan A.C. Wall. And for the degree of Master of Engineering with Honours in Chemical Engineering with Environmental Technology, Joanne Day. Luke Adam Mascarenhas Fairless. Sakaro Kapakli. Saeed Master. John Cameron McAndrew. Joseph James Otter. Mustafa Sagir. Hervey Sapri. And for the award of the degree of Master of Engineering with Honours in Chemical Engineering with French, Christopher John Kelly. Jonathan Valentine. And for the award of the degree of Master of Engineering with Honours in Chemical Engineering with German, Laura Diaz Anadon. And for the award of the degree of Master of Engineering with Honours in Chemical Engineering with Industrial Experience, Daniel John Belton. Michael Common. Mayo Mystery. Kevin James O'Henley. Sophie Jane Richards. Thomas Seaman. David Russell Stevenson. Foong Sheng Wee. James Davison Carter. Claire Frances Cottrell. Gilles Jean-François de Condapa. Stephen Charles Perrault Leclerc. Sei Ping Lee. Jyothi Sivaraja. Christopher David Smith. And for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering with honours in Chemical Engineering, Angzaz Sari Mohd Kasim. Aslinda Azer. Lei Hian Tan. Darrell Scott White. Deyang Nurul Faraz Abang Zaidal. Noraisha Abdul Rahim. Samia Amanullah Khan. Ismak Kuzaima Mansour. Noreen Firdaus Mad Yahya. Sharifa Rafida Wan Alwi. Weng Mun Melissa Young. Stavros Konstantinou Yanoukas. Amit Agarwal. Nadia Salim Akhtar. Charles Genge. Mahazir Noor Ismail. Wahid Rasool. And Nia Eleri Wiltshire.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a chemical engineer nor an optometrist. In fact, my field is something called language engineering. But the reason I'm here today is in my role as chairman of the UMIST Scholarships and Prizes Committee. Now, every year about this time, we have the difficult but rewarding task of reviewing the records of some of the most outstanding students in UMIST to decide who should win the prestigious prizes for Best Student. The Reynolds Prize, named after the first principal of the Manchester Municipal College of Technology, which of course later became UMIST, is for the best final year undergraduate in the whole of UMIST. This year, just under 1,300 students are graduating, and I'm pleased to announce that this year the best student in UMIST is a chemical engineer. This student is described by her head of department as amongst the very best I have seen in my 20-plus years at UMIST. She came to UMIST from Spain to study on the 4-year MN's joint degree in chemical engineering with a foreign language. Being Spanish, she of course chose to study German. In her 4 years, she's never scored less than 70% in 40 or so exams and assessments. Her average over the 4 years is 87%, a fantastic achievement considering that she's studying in her second language, and including a remarkable 95% in her year abroad, where she was the top student in her year at the University of Stuttgart, studying in her third language. As a linguist, you see, I have to stress the languages angle here. Of course, we see a lot of excellent reports when we're considering who should be awarded these prizes, and we value contributions to student life as well as academic achievement. We don't just give the prize to the biggest swat. This student is also a keen sportswoman, a volleyballer, if that's the correct term. So when she found out that there was no volleyball team at UMIST, she decided to set one up and has helped it to become established as one of the top teams at national university level. She also found time to assist the UMIST Student Support and Welfare Service. Well, it won't surprise you to hear that this student is planning to continue her academic career, and I'm only sorry to report that she has opted to move to another institute to do her PhD, a slightly older establishment in East Anglia. Ladies and gentlemen, the best student in UMIST, Laura Diaz-Anadon.
Ladies and gentlemen, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I now confer degrees in absentia on those students unable to be present here today who have, under the conditions set out by ordinance or regulations, pursued the courses of study so prescribed and have satisfied the examiners. May this university, through sound learning and by the advancement of knowledge, achieve its purposes in the service of the nation and the world. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. I do hope you've enjoyed it, in spite of the rather awkward sounds from the sound system. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day here in Manchester. And can I just remind all our graduates now that there will be formal photographs taken straight after this ceremony in the entrance hall. Thank you so much for attending.
My brother.